I'm Dave Dawson. My friends, they just call me Dave. But some people, like Mark Herman, well, Mark, you can call me Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. Me and Artie are here to stay. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. We're gonna have a hell of a freaking show, man.
So I can't help but notice that the picture of me used to that clip was the picture from the video of me announcing I had COVID. So thanks, Dan.
I don't know, but now your gain is way too high, man.
Is it? Oh well, hold on. How about now? This is where I'm actually supposed to sit. That's kind of the point, right?
You know, yeah. How's it going?
There we go. It's okay. A little tired. Hopefully we don't have the COVID.
I hope you don't have the COVID.
Yeah, me too. I can still taste things. So. You don't have to. I don't. That's not. You know, like I said, they got to get a different doctor. So I had the. You know, that's common to for them to do that. So our topic tonight is like extra copies of games and what you do with those. And it's prompted by a little exercise I've been doing in the evenings the last day or two of going through a couple of baggies of extra case blue counters that I was provided with by the legend himself, who is in the chat, Fucko. And it turns out about 7 of the counters I needed for case blue that were missing were in that assortment.
7 counters.
7 out of the 34. Correct. So I'm now only missing 27. So that's great. Now, on the other hand,
Case Blue doesn't have 34 freaking counters.
Case Blue has like 3,600 counters or something.
That's
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah. So I'm missing
7
27
counters out of 3 counters out of 3,700.
I'm missing 27 out of whatever it is.
That would piss me off too.
So anyway. Well, you know, I got the Case Blue at a good price, and it came with the funny thing is it came with like 98% of a Case Blue and like 275% of a Guderian's Blitzkrieg 2. So that's what I'm going through. I'm going through the extra counters. And it turns out I have 2 sets of extra GB2 maps as well. So why? In addition to two complete box copies of GB2, let me hesitate to add. So if I were to sort all this out, I think I would have basically 4 copies of Guderian's Blitzkrieg 2. Why? I'm not sure.
So what are you going to do with them?
That's a great question. I mean, I got extra maps and extra counters. Maybe I'll sell them. I don't know. You can download all the rules and stuff. I bet I could get $50 for a set of GB2 counters and maps. So
I thought you had the full game. You have 4.
I've got 2 full games and 2.5 extra sets of counters and maps. That's what I'm telling you.
What's he saying here? Can you do that?
You play double blind BB2. Yeah, I got 3 sets of maps and 3 sets of counters. I totally could. That sounds like a pain in the ass. It's a great. I've played Guderian's Blitzkrieg 2. It's a tremendous game. I loved it. Just a great game. Really shows off the strengths of OCS as a system.
Why do we do that? Why do we keep up?
So I mean, very seldom have I like bought a duplicate copy thinking to myself, I would like to have this spare copy. The only games I really like intentionally did that with I say stuff like this and then I'm like, remember, yeah, I bought an extra copy of Operation Mercury because they had it on sale and it was cheap relatively. And I bought the only one I like said, oh, I want to buy a duplicate copy was Hood Strikes North, which I still have.
What about Pacific War? You bought a couple of copies of Pacific War?
Well, one was for Fucko though. I only actually have 1 copy of Pacific War at this point, but I've got all the redundant great campaigns of the American Civil War stuff too. I've got all the Avalon Hill stuff and all the multi-man stuff. So that works out to be like 2 copies of Stonewall Jackson's Way and 2 copies of Roads to Gettysburg and 2 copies of Here Come the Rebels. Why? Well, I mean, honestly, my thought was I was going to take the old maps and frame them and put them on the game room wall. And I still could do that, actually.
I know what you're saying.
Because they're gorgeous maps.
Who did them?
Charlie Kibler.
That's the guy I was talking about before.
Except for, yeah, he didn't work with them either. So
okay.
Charlie started with Avalon Hill. I'm willing to be happy to be corrected on that, but I believe that to be the case. And I first became aware of Charlie Kibler in the context of ASL, although I don't know that. I mean, this is a good point. I've got basically a complete duplicate set of ASL core modules. The only one I don't have a new one and an old one of is Doom Battalions, and supposedly they're going to reprint Doom Battalions sometime soon. Although somehow Armies of Oblivion has yet again jumped it in queue, and I'm not sure why.
Why do we do that? Why do we buy games, keep them in shrink, and think we're going to live long enough to want to play the game?
Well, I don't normally keep them in shrink unless I bought it as a duplicate. So the duplicate, Operation Mercury and Hood Strikes North are in shrink. The GB2 is open because I bought a GB2 and then I got a deal later on where it was a GB2 and a case blue for a price I couldn't say no to. So that means I got an extra case blue. I've got a near complete duplicate set of Europa maps, for example. That just showed up. I got a deal I couldn't refuse on those, and I may do something with them. We'll see. I've been thinking of designing a game that works on those maps. That would be neat.
This John Carter game, that's Mark Herman.
That is a Mark Herman game.
Is it a good game?
Great Don Mates cover. It passed through my hands briefly, I want to say in the 90s, and I didn't think much of it at the time, and I wish I still had it because I'd love to take a second look at it now. It wasn't really what I wanted it to be. I kind of wanted it to be, and I knew it wasn't, but I bought it anyway. I kind of wanted it to be the John Carter role-playing game. And,
okay, I was going to say,
or maybe pieces, parts that I could turn into that, and that's just not what it was. So there is now a John Carter RPG from Modiphius that's pretty good and certainly very attractive. I'm going to be probably having a sale soon, by the way. We'll do it on their channel. So, because I've got enough duplicate stuff and a few things that I just need to get rid of that, for example, I'm dumping most Solitaire games.
Hey, yeah, I'd like to know which games you got, huh? Come on, I'm an inside guy. I got to get it before all these schmoes.
Oh, yeah. You got the inside track from the Carl Parody collection, so.
I hit him about once every 2 years.
It's like, here, have another carload of games.
Seriously.
Get them out of my face.
That's funny as hell.
So, I mean, people do buy war games to sit on and they speculate, right? I mean, in some cases, it even feels pretty safe to do that. For example, I could probably buy 3 copies of, the latest release from Thin Red Line Games, and then a week later, when they're no longer available, double the price and sell them, and it'll probably work.
It's funny though, but yes, a week later you can do that. But I bet you 5 years down the line, you're not going to get double the price for that.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Those their products, them specifically. There's other examples as well that maybe aren't quite as attractive. Their products seem to be popular enough that if they're hard to find on the secondary market, not just expensive, but people don't seem to generally be selling them. So there you go. Carl, send me 27 counters from your copy of Case Blue, please. And they're not all off of one counter sheet. They're all over the place. And there's even some reserve markers and stuff like trucks missing and stuff like that.
$150 for Case Blue. I find that cheap.
When it came out, yeah, I think that's what it was.
Wow.
And now if they reprinted it in its previous form, it'd probably be $400 or $500.
It reprinted? Right?
if they did, I don't believe they're going to do that, but if they did, I think that's what it would look like.
I'm sure there's a market for that.
Well, Multi-Man Publishing doesn't agree, so I feel like there is too, and you know, their pre-order system supposed to help guide those decisions, right? So put it up for pre-order, call the number 600 copies, and if it doesn't get 600 pre-orders, then you just drop it, right? I mean, it's not like it's a project. Well, assuming they've got all the digital files still, and they could just resend the files to the printer.
Hey, Mark Ruggiero's in the house, man. Mark, I hope you're doing well.
I hope so too, Mark. Don't forget to check out Mark's GoFundMe, please. I have it in the video descriptions on my videos at this point. So, you know, you say stuff like this, and then you get called an armchair businessman and all this other stuff. But, yeah, that's what I heard. I mean, they certainly complained about not selling the some copy. That the last of the copies sat around for a good long time. And that's, you know, not to undercut that, you don't actually want to be sitting on inventory for years and years and years. So
it's like we're selling fucking pork skin or something.
Now, I'm going to point out that apparently there was a tax law change toward 1980 or something like that made it really radically undesirable for companies to maintain inventory, a backstock of various things. Prior to that, Avalon Hill and SPI made an effort to keep everything in print. And if they sat on it, they sat on it. Now, I think you can't really say that SPI was well run, right? Because they did, after all, go out of business or be absorbed. Everybody knows the longer version of that story, but in the long run, they were around for about 15 years, and which is not a bad run if you think about it, but bad practices and sloppy accounting caught up with them. So,
you know, actually, I don't know the story of SPI. What happened in the end? Did it pull an Avalon Hill?
No. So they had significant cash flow problems and couldn't pay their printers, which means they couldn't print their games, right? Which means they couldn't get money for the new games that they wanted to release. So they basically took out a loan from TSR, and TSR gave them like a month or something like that, and then called in the loan, and they put their IP up as collateral. So TSR effectively, if you got the story from TSR, they assumed the assets but not the liabilities of SPI, which is not exactly how it works, and may not have held up in court, but it didn't go to court apparently, and they got away with it. So if you heard Mark Herman tell the story, I think Kevin Bloom shows up in New York, walks into the office and says, we're taking over. You're all moving to Wisconsin. And all the New Yorkers said, the fuck I am. And except for David James Ritchie, who I think was the only fella to go to Wisconsin. And everybody else either went and did something different or ended up over at Victory Games. So, and they shafted because they didn't absorb the liabilities. Remember, magazine subscriptions are a liability for the company because you've agreed to provide those. You've got the money already. So they stiffed all the S&T subscribers. Certainly the lifetime subscribers.
Wow.
So beware of lifetime subscriptions. Is all because it doesn't do you any good if the company goes away. And that's what happened. Functionally, that's what happened. And then TSR ended up selling S&T off to 3W just a couple, like maybe 2 years later anyway. So I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that. But I think everybody would like to see certain, product come out faster, and old classic products get redone or reprinted. Things go out of print, like mainline things go out of print really fast. It's like, hey, we got a new OCS starter game. intended for new folks. This is great. Oops, it's out of print and now goes for $250. The ASL materials, for example, they're doing a little, it feels like they're doing a little better with it now, but this may be that the market cannibalizing itself because the product's not available too. Where they would literally print ASL starter kit number 1. It would be available for 3 months. Then it would be out of stock for 3 years. You know, when I decided I was going to get back into wargaming, of course, to me at the time, that meant that the option was ASL, because that was what I saw getting played. And then, you know, I looked and was like, oh, Beyond Valor's out of print, so I can't get that. The rule book's out of print, can't get that. Starter kit, I think, was not out yet. It took me like 2 years to get both, and then you know, like a year later, I got a Beyond Valor, and another year after that, I got the rule book. So it took like 2 years to get a set of ASL that I could play Russians and Germans with. Yanks was out of print that entire time, so you didn't have that. So, and that's, you know, that's a little crazy. Carl, I'm not aware of Decision doing that, but that may be people mixing it up with the SPI deal, the SPI TSR deal. But certainly, you know, I don't want to talk about the business of wargaming. If we're going to talk about that, we should have qualified people on here talking about it. So, HMS GRD, on the other hand, I'm happy to talk about, because they're not a real operating company anymore. They're nominally still around, and they're nominally still working on stuff. That's confirmed, by the way. We actually had some folks I know had actual like contact with those people. They're still working on stuff. They still think Total War is coming out, but
what's HMS GRD?
But it's not. Yeah, so Historical Military Simulations, that's the company that allegedly acquired the rights to Europa after Winston Hamilton passed, which pretty much shot Games Research and Design in the face. Games Research and Design had acquired, like legit acquired, the rights from Game Designers Workshop toward the end of GDW's life. So, because the principals at GDW seemed to have more or less lost interest in Europa after the first few years. John C. from the sunny Philippines. Not sunny here today. So, I don't know about that.
It's the ink.
It does have a distinctive aroma that seems different now than it was. But
there was a game I got from CRS, that fucking shit. The guy's from New York.
That doesn't help me at all.
CLR,
Conflict Simulations,
CRL.
CSL. Okay.
Yeah, but I think I got the some World War I game. I can't see it right now. I forgot what it is. And I opened it up, and the smell of the ink, I swear I got stoned for 3 days.
Oh boy. It's like sniffing the Sharpies.
Absolutely.
So yeah, they were going through Blue Panther as well until Blue Panther said, we're not doing business with you anymore. So,
Joseph Miranda,
I'm not sure I've ever seen like a YouTube or audio interview of from Joe Miranda.
I mean, I tried to get Ty Bomba, and Ty Bomba doesn't even have a phone. The last time I heard.
He's busy getting a haircut. What can I say?
And Joseph Miranda, forget it.
So there are definitely some Joe Miranda designs that I like quite a bit.
Oh yeah, man. I
think he's unfortunately been. He's one of those people chained in the basement at Decision Games, I think.
Yeah.
So, and he's kind of forced to churn out large volumes of product that go undeveloped and unpolished. But he's had some good ones as well.
Artie, do you have any budget to work with for buying games, or you just spend willy-nilly?
No, I have an actual budget. It's well, it's a little informal, but I mean, I don't just buy everything. That's for sure. I'm buying relatively little. I did just buy a few things, but I have actually bought so not counting the GMT pre-order that came through of Inferno. I think the stuff I bought this week was the first things I bought this year. I could be wrong about that. I might be full of shit about that. That could be. You know, there's some other, he's not the only one. There's some other folks that they don't like to do interviews either.
Mark Simonich, forget it. Forget it.
I've never met Mark Simonich. I have had no contact with him whatsoever. Nor Joe Miranda, but I've interacted a little bit with Ty Bomba on Facebook. So
how was Ty Bomba?
I mean, he's got his things happening, and I didn't strike me as, noteworthy one way or the other as far as like, his personal interaction with anybody.
I love that, John. I love it.
So
we're so
I've met a shockingly small number of like industry luminaries, to be completely honest, in person. I've met a couple, but not very many. So
I mean, it's funny at WBC. First of all, I met so many people I didn't even know who I was talking to.
Oh, WBC or CSW Expo or someplace like that, you'll meet a lot. You'll meet a lot.
And I met what's his name? He did Front Towards Enemy.
Joe Chacon.
Yeah.
No,
nice.
No, that's not.
I didn't know who he was. This guy. All of a sudden, he's Joe Chacon.
Is that Joe Chacon?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So, anyways, I'm talking to the guy, and then he tells me he just designed a new game, and I'm like, oh shit, who are you, Joe Chacon? Never heard of the guy. And then he tells me he's a military man, and he was in Rome for 8 years or something like that. We started speaking Italian.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that was nice. I enjoyed that.
Okay, I may have met him at Winter Offensive. That's possible. I know he was there. I talked to the GTS guys because he's like the GTS series honcho, and has designed a couple of GTS games. But and I've met John C. He counts as an industry luminary because he came all the way from the Philippines just to go to Compass Expo.
John
C.
Yeah, I know. I met him at that WBC.
See, you could have come down to Compass Expo. It's like an hour drive from you.
The guys from the players, the Farmers Aid, I think they went to something like that at the same time. But John,
that's true. They're big shots now.
They're huge. I mean, and John is such a big shot. He had a harem of women and bodyguards. I couldn't get to talk to the guy. The guy didn't want to talk to me.
Oh boy, he just actually hired those people to keep you away, Dan. People get paid for interviews? What? Not my interviews. I don't have a budget for that. There is no budget for that.
Yeah, no, I'm living high off the hog doing this.
So John Longshore asks about, so this was 100 Years War, which I don't know if that's still a going thing or not. I was somewhat surprised to find out that there are a few of the old play-by-mail games that are in fact still running. This wasn't that. This was an online thing, but I don't know what the status might be. And I'm not sure that Dunnigan has done much else. I mean, he was kind of on record as saying, that these are everything here is going to get replaced by computer games, and that turned out not to be the case. At least not yet. So this is a fair point that see, Dan, all you had to do was be nice. Yeah. John Stanley says there's no money to fight over at in the probate if you spend it all on war games. They don't know my 10 copies of Case Blue are worth, though.
No, and
I was telling the story. I apparently have the most deadpan delivery on the planet. Because I was telling people the story of the tree and the car and the shed and all that shit at Winterfest, and I'm like, oh well, what was in this? Somebody asked, "Oh, what would you have stored that shed?" I was like, "Oh, my entire game collection." And he's like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." I'm pulling your leg, right? Why am I going to store my game collection in a fucking shed?
Yeah, but that's so mean. You're such a prick. That's bad.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I may have given him a heart attack. We could be on whatever side we want. See, we can.
Boom, boom, what the hell is going? I'm gonna puke.
There you go. So, it just matters. That's determined by the order in which you're added to the show in StreamYard. That's all. But you can move them around, so it's all good.
Oh man. You know, Alan, that's very nice of you. That's very nice of you. And I'll tell you something. I just met Mark, and I just bought a liter of Nadura single malt scotch, and I was so freaking hammered. Mark can drink, man. Let me tell you, like seriously heavy drink.
Well, he's 7 feet tall, so of course he can.
Well, everybody's 7 feet tall to me. And the thing is, I went back to my room. I puked.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. We did a fair amount of damage to. I mean, this wasn't just me drinking this, but we drank most of 3 bottles of scotch at Winterfest.
Oh,
now it took like 8 days to do that too, and there were several contributors, but it was a respectable showing. I felt right. So, but at no point did I get like I had 2 old fashions when we went to the big steak dinner. That was my maximum the entire time. That's about where I top out at. Otherwise, I'll just go to sleep.
Nah, I get stupid, carried away, this and that. We drank that liter of scotch in 2 days. Mark and I and John Butterfield had 1 drink. So I was hammered for 2 days. 1, the interview. 2, when I thought I was playing Fire in the Lake, but I was playing the expansion.
You're still playing Fire in the Lake. You're just playing it with the expansion.
But I how dare Grant ask me a question when I'm hammered?
I don't know. There is a moral to this story, Dan. So yeah, this is kind of what prompted the. I mean, I don't have pristine extra copies of these particular games, but I have. I don't really buy anything extra just to keep it in the shrink wrap. But I don't know. I've occasionally been motivated to buy an extra copy to have it like a shit copy. I'm more likely to do that, like a garbage copy that I could beat up and modify. You know, assuming the price is right too. I'm not going to buy an extra case blue to do that.
John, unfortunately, no, I'm not. I would love to go. And the thing is that at the end of April, the Chicago Pipe Show was happening, and I ain't even going to go there. You know why, John? I got no money. I got no money, John. Cashola, you know?
I can understand that. I think this is a bit of this is actually one of the Joe Miranda games that I think doesn't get enough attention. It did have development problems though. I mean, they had to do kind of an update refit kit for it, which is, I don't know that it's necessary because you can just download the rule book, but you really do want it. I think that's a game with a lot of potential. And it's too bad that it didn't catch on, but I'm not surprised that it didn't catch on because it was done by Decision and it's a sloppy ass mess. So I also have, I mean, sometimes you'll like buy a box of stuff, right? And you'll end up with duplicate copies of things. I've got like several duplicate D&D books, for example, that just, you know, was stuck in a box of other stuff that I bought. So
yeah.
There you go. We could do that. You could do a Kickstarter, send Dan to WBC. Not a bad idea, actually.
Get out of here, Jesus.
How much would it cost you to go to WBC? Let me put it that way.
What? I mean, if I would drive down?
Well, however it would work, right? Just, you know, plan a reasonable trip. Say, you know, whatever it would cost, $800 or probably more than that. But, you know, for transportation and food and lodging and all that. And if that seems like it's reasonable, if that is $500 or $800, that's probably within reach of a GoFundMe, actually.
No, I can't do that shit. It's embarrassing.
Well, okay. I'm just saying. Think of it as business fundraising, though. So,
it would cost me the hotel.
Okay, plus gas.
Well, the gas. I mean, if people are gonna pay for the hotel, I'm gonna have to pay.
I've never been there, so I don't know what the hotel costs. Let's say it costs $150 a night, and you're going to stay 3 nights, so that's $450. Rounded up to $500 with hotel tax, and then whatever the admission costs at WBC, which is I don't know. You've been there, I haven't.
I don't know. So, could it be $80?
It absolutely could be $80.
Yeah, I know. Can't we get a media pass?
I don't know. Do they do that? Maybe.
I think so.
I don't know. Could be that they don't know that there is such a thing as the media and will just throw you out if you ask.
It's $100. John says it's $100.
Okay, that's kind of a lot.
You know, and yeah, like all my budget went to the bathroom, man. I went $4,000 over. $4,000 over.
That's a lot. But is your bathroom awesome now?
Yeah, it's kind of awesome.
Okay, well there you go.
I'm gonna film myself sitting on the bowl, taking a shower.
European wonder toilet that you got.
Oh, it's a wicked toilet, man. I call it my Vitamix
toilet. Vitamix of toilets.
And the thing is that if you lay a really big dump, it's not gonna Vitamix just once. It's gonna take it in and then Vitamix it again and then Vitamix it again. So everybody knows you just laid a turkey. You know what I'm saying?
This was not on our list of topics for this evening.
I'm just saying.
So anyway. There you go. There you go.
John, you're invited. And a shower too. Not just a dump.
I am forced to agree with this sentiment. TMI.
EMI.
There you go. John, hey, you got to fly anyway. There's probably a layover in Montreal, right? Just tell him you need a couple extra hours to drive to Dan's and take a crap in his toilet.
I'll come and pick you up, for God's sake.
The finest in Gallic technology over at Dan's. God, I hope so.
Okay, we'll change topics.
Okay.
He doesn't like me, that guy.
So what do we do? What causes us to get duplicates, and what do we do with the duplicates? Do we just sell them? I mean, because that's the easy route. Sometimes I went through all my magazines, and I'm sure I have some duplicate magazines too. In fact, I know I have some duplicate magazines. But if they're traveler magazines, I'll keep the duplicates. But you know, sometimes they can be hard to get rid of, right? It's not necessarily trivial. Like I found going through the magazines, I found like I got like a dozen issues of White Dwarf. Miniatures era White Dwarf, not early White Dwarf. I'd kept those. That was a good magazine back in the day. Are those worth something? Maybe, I don't know, but is it like worth my time to put them up on eBay?
Did you just show a picture of an old magazine on the Twitter?
That was Astounding Science Fiction from 1941.
Wicked.
I found that at like a flea market or something like that. It was like $1. It's a terrible condition, but it's like literally older than my dad. So and it was, it's got a Heinlein cover and all that, and it's a good Heinlein story too, actually. But yeah, that's not even what I'm talking about. I mean, I'll keep that. That's kind of just a cool piece. I'm talking about the stuff that, like, I got no use for issues of White Dwarf. Jesus Christ. What am I, crazy? There are pictures of miniatures in there. That's like a magazine about herpes.
Bitch.
Right? So
there is a magazine on herpes. I just dropped a glass of wine.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm teasing about the herpes. I'm sorry about your herpes, Dan. I agree with this sentiment, but sometimes you just end up with extra copies, right? I mean, so I got a 1914 Offensiva Outrance, and it looks like a cool game, right? And I at one point said, nobody's going to play this. I get rid of it. So I sold it to somebody here in Ohio. And without thinking about it, had I thought about it, I would have absolutely just left it in there. The Battle for Liège expansion was in there too. And then I acquired the game again, along with the other 2 games in the series. And I'm like, this is actually a really neat system. I'd really like to try this. But then I don't have the expansion anymore because it's in the old copy. Well, this past week, I just bought my old copy with the Liège expansion back from the guy I sold it to. Now I got an extra copy. The same price I sold, I think $60, the same price I bought it. I sold it to him for, which is a good price. It's partially punched. But it's, was in exactly the same condition when I got it back as was when I handed it over. So Dan is committing alcohol abuse over there.
Ah, God.
So I think this does count actually. But then what do you do with the old one? Do you just sit on it? I mean, I don't have an unlimited amount of shelf space over here. Even now, I've still got to be concerned. I mean, the shelves aren't up yet. I'm not quite sure how much extra room I'll have. The wall is designed to accommodate a certain amount of growth. But that's going to be, that's going to be finite too, right? I don't want to have stacks of games all over the place and live like one of those people.
Fight!
I want games. Oh dear. All right, be nice, children. I don't think war games are good investments. I mean, if you want a good investment, go buy, whatever a stock, put your money in a money market account or something. I mean, the return on it, barring a couple of narrow cases where, like I said, the thin red line stuff, where you could flip it over buy 5 copies, flip it over in a week.
Yeah.
And double your money. I guess that's good, but it comes back to the White Dwarf problem. Am I going to put these up on eBay for $5 a piece and go to all that trouble of shipping them and packing them and taking pictures of them and all that other bullshit for $5? I don't think I am. I'm more likely to throw them in, just burn them in the fire pit out back. Right? At least it'll be a symbolic victory over Games Workshop. So, sometimes it's not worth the trouble to get rid of it. If you're going to sell it for $100, like the GB2, well, I'll take like the extra full copy with a box and all that of GB2. I'll sell that for $100 easily. So,
why don't we just invest in pork or wood?
Well, as opposed to war games, yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
So that's a good point. You could sell your old stuff to Noble Knight and get store credit.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? And that's the best thing to do at Noble Knight.
Well, it is, because you just contact them and say, okay, here's a list of what I got. They give you a ballpark. I guess I've never done this. They give you a ballpark estimate. They pay to ship it to them. They look at it and give you store credit. And they give a decent amount of store credit. Even in a cash deal, they'll give you, it's not too bad. They give you an extra 10. Well, you'll get more in store credit. I mean, obviously, but even if you take the cash, it's not that bad. If I was to take a copy of Streets of Stalingrad up to half price books tomorrow, unpunched Streets of this is an actual example because we did this.
Okay.
I predict that half price books would give me $5 for it, and they would look and see what it goes for on eBay and sell it for $200. Noble Knight will sell it for $200 or $300 that it's worth, but they will give me, and they did, like $90 for it in cash.
That's fair. That's fair, man.
Yeah, it was a good price. They probably sold it for $300 or $400, and they're going to sell it for more. And nobody's to assert that they're not trying to fool anybody. They don't assume you're an idiot. Obviously, they're going to sell it for more than they bought it for. But
that's called business.
Well, that's capitalism. Why do you hate capitalism, Dan?
Why do I hate capitalism?
Right.
Because I don't got any.
Oh, you don't got any capitalism.
No.
We're a little light on capitalism here too, folks, if it makes you feel any better. Fortunately, Winterfest is a damn cheap convention to go to.
Yeah, but all you're gonna play is monster war games, man.
Yeah, or as I like to call them, half price crooks.
But let's say, If
I buy a punched and incomplete copy of Panzerblitz for only $75.
You know,
what a deal!
If I want to go to Winterfest, I want to play a game of Memo Boosin. I can't.
What?
Yeah, it's a game where you gotta match the breast.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't do that. We didn't play, you know, super hardcore and high intensity shit all the time, though. I told you, Dan, next time you show up at WBC, I gotta go so that I could chain you to the table and force you to play OCS for a couple of days. That's gonna be great.
God.
Oh my God, your eyes will be bleeding by the time you're done. But well, you know, we'll so the way the OCS crowd runs, we like show up with construction materials and build the table on the spot. So we'll build a table that's appropriate for you, Dan. We'll make we'll make it 14 inches off the floor.
Is that supposed to say something to me?
I mean, he's Canadian. What do you expect?
Karl Marx lives.
Karl Marx. No, he doesn't. But you know.
Jesus.
Yes, Mark. Exactly. You got to do it. So we got Eric from Eric's Table Napoleonic Battles is coming. So we are going to have at least 3 tables of La Bataille running at Buckeye Game Fest, plus a table of OCS, plus some other stuff happening. So, and the Players Aid guys will be there. So you too will be able to mock them in person.
Doug, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that, Doug? By the way, Doug's got a wicked name. The second most wicked name I've ever heard in my life. When I bought my pipe shelves, I bought it from a guy called Joe Budd. That was the best name I've ever heard in my life. And then I heard...
For tobacco use only.
And then Gamer's Closet... His name is Doug Weed. I mean, come on.
Okay. I'm sensing a conversation pattern. You know, I should at least as some kind of the Purple Heart of the CSRs or something like that. So you have to use the chain to keep him from wandering off, however. So PacificCon's supposed to be cool. It's just that it's in California and it's $500 to fly there. At least from out this way. Dan, it's probably more expensive for you. I mean, $500 is like 50 grand in Canadian money. So
California, and where in California? Is it close to BC?
BC.
British Columbia, for God's sake.
California is 2 states away from British Columbia.
Well, so, that's why I asked.
Not very close, no. So yeah, demonetization. That's why we're going to be on Dan's channel more often now, because I don't want to get demonetized again. Bud Green, there you go, Bud Green.
Oh man.
So there are some cool conventions in California, though. Surprisingly, for a state where they surf. The joke was that no, they don't do gaming in California because they got stuff to do outside. We don't have anything to do outside in the winter over here. So that's why the Midwest is the metropolis of gaming.
And how hot is it at PacificCon? Like, am I gonna sweat just standing?
I'd be a little surprised if there wasn't air conditioning, Dan. God. It's California. It's not the Yukon.
I thought it was wicked. I thought it was wicked, except the end was a bit Hollywood-ish. But I mean, what the hell?
I mean, it is a Hollywood production. No, I think it's a German production.
I know, man. It's Deutschland.
Yeah, we got to. We were talking about this a lot at Winterfest. Actually, nobody was playing it, but a number of people came out and said, "Yeah, that game's awesome." Either that or the West Front game or the Serbia game. The complaint about the Serbia one was it's too small, but consider who you're talking to on that, right?
You're talking about Twilight in the East?
Yes.
Who designed that?
Mike Resch.
Is that a triptych, whatever? No.
What?
there's a Serbian Moose against Serbian or something.
Oh, Serbian Moose Sterbian.
Yeah, is that the same series?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and that's an undertreated topic too. That whole front front between Austria and Serbia in World War I. Very interesting.
Hey, look at that! Look at that! Victoria Day weekend.
I can vouch that tens of dollars arrive in my YouTube account each month.
That's all you get? I get way more.
I'm underselling a little bit, but it ain't enough to live on. I mean, it is. I'd make more working at McDonald's. Let me put it that way.
Who do you think paid for my toilet?
There you go, McDonald's.
Jesus Christ!
I mean, they should. Taco Bell should pay for my toilet.
I just sold my instrument. My instrument of 35 years that I loved. I had to sell
to pay for the toilet.
Yeah.
Well, look on the bright side. You can poop now.
Yeah.
So this is totally accurate. The Serbians did give the Austro-Hungarians way more than they were expecting. So there you go. Players Aid on the War Room special tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Wait, tomorrow is Wednesday night. So, okay, but that would be an atypical time. But to be honest, the reason I don't watch more often is because it's like it's on Saturday and I got shit to do. It's like my only day to do that shit. So I'm always like out shopping or doing yard work or doing some home improvement project or whatever at that time. So great for not doing anything at 2 p.m. on Saturday.
Kurt, is Ruffy gonna be there? Ruffy and Tony? Because if Ruffy and Tony ain't there, I ain't watching.
Well, if Ruff's gonna be, Tony's here in Ohio, he can handle 8 p.m. For Ruff, that would be 2 in the morning.
Well, so, you better be there.
I'm just saying, or 1 in the morning anyway.
Because he's like a koala, you know what I mean? I want to squeeze him, even though he ain't from what was I gonna say? Argentina, Australia. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. So
look at that. Ruffy's gonna be there.
There you go. Cool there you go. He's gonna drink. He's gonna have some tea and stay up till 3 in the morning.
Guy's a musician. Ruffy's a professional musician, man.
I've got this queued up to watch, and I've watched about half of it. And of the 10 games I've watched, so it's 10 from Grant and 10 from Alexander. There's some overlap there between what I would pick in a top 10 list. They play more games than I do. They just flatly play more games than I do. I probably play just as many sessions as they do.
Jesus.
But they play like a different game a game or two every week, where I play the same game every week, right? So they have a lot more visibility on more different stuff than I do. So bear all that in mind. But of the halfway through that I got so far, I think the only thing that like sung to me was Aracor. So
talk.
So anyway, Magnus K says it's 2 a.m. there now. So that sounds fabulous. We did pull some fairly late nights to where we just sat up bullshitting. I mean, that's just kind of the cool thing. It's like, everybody that's there, right? There might be 1, maybe 2 people there a year, like new people. Otherwise, they're all people you've known for years. So you just, you want to hang out bullshitting with them till 3 in the morning all the time. And then they got the Taskmaster, the overseer from the 10 Commandments, played by Edward G. Robinson. 7 a.m. It's time to play. Get back to work. Where's your God now?
I need 8 hours. 8 hours.
Yeah, I didn't get 8 hours at any point.
I need 8 hours.
I was lucky to pull 4.
And I killed somebody.
Also, alcohol does not harms your ability to sleep soundly. So
obviously.
So I'm just saying, you got to be careful about your alcohol intake.
Be careful. Yeah, don't drop your drink.
Yeah, don't. Well, I mean, obviously. I mean, your pants are stone drunk right now.
Yeah,
Jester's coming to Origins. That's going to be great. So there is, I don't know what it's going to be called in the book, but there's a wargaming area / armchair dragoons area. That's where we'll be. We'll be running Third World War from Compass. It's going to be great. That is my other 3D printing counter trace project right now, is to make 2 sets. And this is the other thing that I've been working on. And boy, I'll tell you what.
Can you show us?
What? Oh.
Open her up and everything, for God's sake.
Well, I just started this.
For God's sake.
But this is Panzer Divisions from Case Blue.
Look how cool that is.
So,
but why did you take such a pansy color?
That's why I'm using this tray, because it was extra. And I am not organizing. I am organizing, but this is not like the final solution for Case Blue. I'm trying to sort this shit so I know what I have, and maybe I'll come up with a couple extra counters that I didn't think I had.
Artie, how easy is it to pick out the counters?
Oh, with the tweezers, it's very easy. So if you have the spacers in the bottom, the spacers are designed to, I had a built-in spacer to like pick the bottom counter up off the bottom of the tray just a little bit so you could get the tweezer under it. I got rid of that because I realized that it's better to have a spacer of variable height, so that if there's 4 counters in the stack, they come to the top. They're not going to flop around in the slot. So
how many counters per row?
Oh, on this one, about 13, based on the thickness that we have here in GB2.
So are you saying 4 counters per slot?
I'm saying about 13 counters per slot.
Per slot?
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty good, man. And
this is 104 compartments, so this will easily handle 1,500 counters.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Of this thickness, right? If I did Great Battles of Caesar that just came, I'd probably fit 8 counters per slot. So, and I mean, there's a lot of counters in that too. But I have pretty high hopes that I'll be able to use this method to organize those games as well. So, I mean, but if I could fit this stuff at GMT counter trays, I would just do that. I'd be happy to do that. That would be great. But unfortunately, GMT counter trays, which I originally, so I guess these counter trays are actually manufactured by Udo Grebe Games in Europe.
Really?
That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I first became aware of these counter trays when they were being sold by the gamers back in the day. Now everybody just calls them GMT trays because the gamers aren't around anymore. MMP doesn't do counter trays, and at GMT is where you get them. So, but Meandering Mike says they're Udo Grebe Games trays, and
really?
Yeah, that may be true. I don't know if it originated with them or what. So,
I thought it was some guy in China or something, just like ripping them out.
They may be Chinese manufactured. That's possible, but
okay.
that doesn't mean that that's where the company that owns the process is located.
Okay. I had Udo Greb intro my No Enemies Here one day. Sounds like a nice guy.
Okay. Of course he is. He's German. All the Germans that weren't nice guys are dead. So anyway,
you got me, man. Oh, that was great. That was comical genius.
I agree.
Oh, that was good. That was good, man. That was good.
Oh, yeah, the guy with the voiceover was Chip Saltzman. He's a developer on the OCS team. He's not the only developer, I think, but he's got that booming baritone voice. So I was like, yep, Chip's doing the voiceover on this. So, and we're aware that he said the wrong year at the beginning, but if we did 2 takes, and the other take with the wrong date was better. So.
Hey, look! I gotta say this is for Carl Kreider, because he's from Deutschland. You know the old saying, "Take my wife, please." The joke there, "Take my wife, please," but the Germans have a different way of saying it. take my wife. I command you. Come on, Artie. Jesus Christ, that was funny.
Hilarious. All Dan is saying is that the German language has an imperative. English really doesn't. So if you've ever seen the Monty Python skit, the Romans Go Home skit, which is on YouTube and is worth your time. It's hilarious if you've taken Latin, because that's exactly how it works. But they mention in there that there's an imperative, so you have to, it's a special mood that I think it's a mood that you use when you're commanding something. German has that too. But the command, the imperative is, I think, the same structurally as the question too. I think something like that.
What's this guy talking about?
Who's what again?
For God's sake, man!
He's talking about my my public service announcement video.
It was a stupid joke.
Did you see the public service announcement video?
That you did?
Yeah.
You're kidding me. You got to send it to me. No, I haven't.
Oh, well, hold on a second. I got to figure out where it is, but.
You know, Clark Commando was talking about Filipinas with the Filipina jesters. You know, we have some nurses which are Filipinas or Philippine women.
Public service announcement, folks.
And they're gorgeous.
The scene, Winterfest 2020. Players have been working on this enormous game, 4,000 counters, for a full week. And then it happened.
Completely wrong about that.
No. Listen.
You've got to understand what happened there, Tony.
No, as a designer.
So, as I told you,
Yeah, no.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's horrible. Oh, that's horrible.
Only you can prevent tweezer tragedy.
That's pathetic.
It was great. It was
Oh,
fantastic.
that's hilarious. You know what? And only people like us can get this. Like 10 people.
This is why you got to play some OCS, Dan.
That's hilarious.
So I'm going to be getting mileage out of that for a while yet. So
That's funny as hell. Who was the first guy, by the way?
that's Chip Saltzman.
Okay. And who were the two guys arguing?
That was Curtis Bear and Tony Burkett.
And Tony Burkett was the designer of that game?
Oh, yes, Tony Burkett is the Charles S. Roberts Award nominee. Multiple Charles S. Actually, Chip's got a CSR nomination as well. I mean, he might even have won.
What's that other guy arguing with him about, telling him about? No, what's he saying?
Well, it was a dramatic recreation. That was not actual footage. So
yeah, I know, but it's
the
funny.
point is that they were talking, and one guy was waving tweezers around, and the other guy was waving his arms around, and they intersected, and the tweezers went flying clear through the Russian front.
Oh, my God.
So,
that's only funny to us. I showed that to my wife.
I had people that had bowel movements when they saw that video. So there you go.
God,
monogrammed. I gotta do this. This is important, actually. The people is part of why we do what we do, right? It's not just about the games. I mean, it's great that we're gaming. That's fabulous, but
okay, I get it. I'm in.
There you go.
I'm in.
What percentage of your collection is unplayed, Dan?
99%.
I'm probably so I count this differently than most people do. So just as a caveat, because I count series games as I've played the series. So all this OCS stuff, I've played OCS. I haven't played every single game in the series, and I probably won't get to the last game in the series anytime soon. But so that counts as a played rather than not played. So bearing all that in mind, and there's plenty of single games too, I'm probably floating at around 50%. To be honest,
no, I'm thought seriously 99%.
So I do okay, using my own idiosyncratic way to measure it. So the way I see it, these are all just more scenarios for OCS, right?
My problem is testosterone.
Testosterone.
I need testosterone.
Well, don't take the over-the-counter supplement, because somebody took one of those over-the-counter supplements. Testosterone supplements, and his dick fell off. So,
as long as it gives me energy, I don't care about my dick falling off. I mean,
oh dear,
whatever.
You need just drink some freaking coffee, man. How you think I've been getting through life?
Coffee gives me the shakes, man.
Well, you drink a little less of it than that. I'm just saying. Water buffaloes in Burma. All right, folks. It is time. We are over time. I've got to go get food and do stuff. So we need to get all that done. So,
all right.
Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you on my channel next Tuesday.
Big move. Big win. The moose is loose. Big moves. Big win.